Good Monday morning, everybody, and happy Canada. We've got a holiday happening today, so it's Family Day in much of Canada. Some of the other provinces have a different name for it, but more importantly, it's a long weekend. So if you're in Canada, happy long weekend. And apparently it's also President's Day in the US, so if you have the day off for that, happy long weekend to you too. Welcome to a Monday live stream here at the Jade and Stitches Show and part 2 of our teddy bear. We're making a big plushy teddy bear. We started the project last week on Valentine's Day on Wednesday, and we will link part 1 of this project in the description box down below after today's live is finished, if it's not already there. So if you want the full work along, the live crochet along, we'll have part 1 easily grabbable for you. And then later today, I'll be making a post with both parts associated with it in case you're kind of catching up. It's not hard to catch up. Obviously, our crochet alongs go a lot sort of slower than our usual tutorials do. So if you need to catch up, you can sort of see what's happening today and then quickly catch up if you want to make yourself a teddy bear as well. The teddy bear pattern is available in our Etsy shop. It was last week's sneaky sale. It is today's sneaky sale too. So if you want to pick it up, if you haven't already, then please feel free to do so. And thank you very, very much to everybody who has picked up the pattern or any of the patterns in our shop over the last few days. We really appreciate your support. It definitely helps keep us going here. We have a special video tutorial coming for you this Friday. So a brand new for spring tutorial. That'll be this Friday, so stay tuned for that. And we're going to continue with our stuffed bear. Before I get started with the quick recap of all the tools and materials, I want to thank Nico. Nico had a membership milestone, and she also gifted a membership before we got going, and Maeve won it. Congratulations, Maeve. Thank you so much, Nico. And we also had a membership milestone from Susie. Susie's been a member for 5 months, and she says, thanks for all the wonderful time the InStitches family provides us with, and thank you for being here, Susie. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So, Mr. InStitches is in the house. He's pushing buttons.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show.
And we're both sipping coffee. Yum, yum. All right, let's get back into our bear. I'm using a size 5 chunky bulky weight yarn in a plushy kind of texture. It's this nice pink. Last week we completed the head and we started the 2 legs, which then grow into the body. So we are at the end of row 21 of the body. We will be continuing from that point. I'm using a 4.5mm hook, also known as a size 7, to make the body parts. You may need a slightly smaller hook to make some of the smaller details. This is optional, but if you're kind of playing around with yarn weights, then you might want to consider that. A pair of scissors, yarn needle. Stitch marker is very helpful because much of these bear parts are built in the round, and it's easy to keep track of where you are if you use a stitch marker on the first stitch of the row. I've got a couple of covered buttons that I'll be using for eyes, but I know a few of you have been using safety eyes. Maria finished a bear on Friday and sent a picture to me, and I shared it earlier with the rest of the family. I'll be sharing it again later. She finished a full teddy bear using a really pretty neon variegated yarn. It's so cute, and she used safety eyes for her bear. So if you want to include safety eyes, you can add safety eyes to the head before you stuff it. Or even if you do stuff it and you want to go back in, you can still add them. It might take a little bit of doing if you've stuffed it, but it's still possible because the bottom of the head is left open before we sew it to the body. So safety eyes are an option. I'll be using buttons, but you can use googly eyes or whatever you might like. Needle and thread for me because I'll be adding the buttons, but if you're using safety eyes, obviously that's its own little kind of kit. And that's it. Let's get back to it. Stuffing, use whatever you want. I'm using this pom-pom yarn that I don't really like for anything else, and it makes really good stuffing, but of course pillow stuffing is fine too. Chopped up fabric, t-shirt, whatever. All right, so let's get back into it. I'm going to make myself a little bit of room here. I'm continuing with my size 4.5mm hook, which is the size 7. We left off at the end of row 21. I'm going to keep my stitch marker handy. I'm going to put my needle, my hook back in my loop. I stuffed my legs, so this is a fairly nice wide open part of the bear. It's a good time to stuff your legs. Don't overstuff your bear. And I started stuffing the main body, but I'm going to do a little bit of work on the body before I add any more stuffing to it. So here we go. For row 22, we start to decrease to create more of a shape for the body. So right from where we are, we're going to single crochet 2 stitches together. Now, I have been using, I usually use what I kind of understood to be the single crochet 2 stitches together. You pick up a loop in each stitch, yarn over, pull back through everything. But you guys had me using a new version of it in the past, for the past little live stream we were doing, where you pick up a loop in each of the next, I'm sorry, you don't even pick up a loop. I think you pick up the front facing loops of the next 2 stitches, and then you yarn over and pick up a loop and single crochet as normally. So that's also a single crochet 2 stitches together option, but you can do whichever one you want, especially if you're using the plushy yarn. It's not going to be overly bulky either way, because plushy yarn is already kind of on the bulky side, but you can single crochet 2 stitches together however you want. Then we single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. I have marked the first stitch of the row with my stitch marker so that I know which side of the body the row began on. Obviously, I know that I'm pretty much in alignment with where the legs kind of are, but I can easily forget which side is the front and which side is the back. So I'm marking that single crochet 2 stitches together with my stitch marker so that I know where the beginning of the row is, and I can pay a little bit more attention to the chat. And then we do this again. So single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet once into each of the next 2 stitches. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. We're going down from a total of what was 32 single crochet all the way around for the previous rows of the body, down to 24 at the end of row 22. So single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet in each of the next 2. We are decreasing now, adding a little bit of shaping to the body. I hope everybody had a nice couple of days, and if you're enjoying a long weekend, thank you for spending it with us. So a couple of you have been trying the invisible decrease. I think it's fun. I like it. It takes a little bit of getting used to. My hands want to do the usual one, but I do like what a tiny little silhouette it has. So I will be trying it again later on a different kind of yarn. Melissa! Welcome back to Silk, Melissa. Did I do that right? Yes, I did. I have to pay attention to what I'm doing here. Thank you for coming back, Melissa. We appreciate it. All right, last 2 single crochet of the row. That brings me back to my stitch marker. I'm also going to take a moment to have a sip of coffee. All right, so that is the end of row 22. We have closed in the body a little bit, so I'm down to 24 stitches all the way around. If you want, you can add a little bit more stuffing at this time. I think maybe I will do that. It's kind of nice to add a little bit of stuffing as you go. Let me see. Here's my end of mat yarn. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of this pom-pom yarn. This is what I'm using as stuffing, since I just could not bring myself to use it for anything else. Hey, Crocus! Crocus has been a member for 12 months. Thank you, Crocus. Crocus is a membership milestone. She says, spreading your sunshine, Jada. Well, thank you. I hope you are spreading everybody's. Spread the sunshine. Spread it far and wide. We need more positivity, more sunshine, more sweetness. We need more love in the world. What is it Karen said on Valentine's Day? She said she messaged she kind of commented on a one of the messages we posted. She said, what did she say? I'm paraphrasing here, Karen. Something like, fling that love around and don't be stingy. Get it on everybody. And I just love that. Barbara! Barbara! There's the bell. Barbara with a membership milestone. Barbara's been a member for 6 months. Hi, Barbara. Glad to see you're here too. All right, so I've added a little bit more stuffing to the body. I'll add a little bit more as I go. But let's do row 23. So in row 22, we decreased, but for row 23, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So I'm going to single crochet, mark that as the first stitch of the row, and now I'm going to single crochet in each stitch around. So it's a gradual shaping of the body. It is so nice to have an extra day off in February. February is kind of a bummer of a month, especially up here in Canada. So having a long weekend is nice. It's a nice excuse to maybe take a little extra time to fix a slightly fancier meal maybe, or sit down and catch up on some bingeable shows, or work on some whips. I'm going to just bring my little stitch marker to the front. So a single crochet in every stitch all the way around. You'll still have 24 stitches at the end of row 23. Take my stitch marker out. Row 24, we are going to do the decrease again. So single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet into the next stitch, repeat. So I'm going to do that invisible thing where you pick up the front loops of the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet and single crochet once into the next stitch. I'm going to mark that first stitch of the row so I know where I am when I get back to it. And single crochet 2 together, single crochet into the next stitch. Single crochet 2 together, single crochet into the next stitch. And we're going to go down from 24 to 16 at the end of this row. More decreases to go here. I got to keep the stuffing in the bear and the stitch marker on the outside of the bear. There we go. And one more. Single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet into the last stitch of the row. So now I'm down to 16 stitches. Take my stitch marker out. So the body is really closing in now. I'm just going to pull up on that, and I'm going to make it a little more potty. So I'm going to put a little bit of extra stuffing in now. Crocus says Mary Maxim's having a sale. That sounds good. All right, a little bit more. So now I've got kind of a round little belly. So his little belly kind of pops out the back and the front, much like a teddy bear should. Should be on the potty side. Maybe I'll put a little bit more in there. All right, so we're at the end of row 24. We did another row of decreasing. We are at 16 single crochet, or 16 stitches all the way around. There we go. And now we're going to do row 25. Row 25 is like 23. We are just going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. You'll still have 16 stitches. Nico has gifted another membership. Thank you, Nico. Nico, our gifting ninja, swoops in. And Penelope has won it. Congratulations, Penelope. Cheers. All right, so single crochet in every stitch all the way around. I'm going to mark the first stitch of the row with my stitch marker just so I know which side of the body is the front. I'm going to single crochet in each stitch. I'll still have 16 stitches at the end of row 25, and then it'll be one more row of decreasing, and that will be the body finished, and we'll be on to the arms. We will, maybe we'll attach the head before we do the arms. So if you're working along on this with me, you can kind of feel some more progress. I like getting things sort of attached as I go. And one more. There we go. Excuse me. Okay. Row 26, last row of the body. I'm going to get myself some slack here on my yarn. We're going to single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around. So we're going from 16 down to 8. So I'm going to do that little invisible decrease thing. Still getting used to it. I like it. There's 1. Mark my stitch. And now I'm grabbing the front 2 loops of the next 2 stitches and single crochet. Front 2 loops of the next 2 stitches, single crochet. This is a lot of fun. All right. Next 2. Get my stitch marker out of the way. Renee? Thank you so much. Renee has gifted a membership. Thank you, Renee. And Linda has won it. Congratulations, Linda. Welcome back to the family. One last single crochet, 2 stitches together. There we go. And that is that. You can slip stitch into what was the first stitch of the row just to kind of end it. Fasten off. You don't need to leave a tail. If you've got any kind of holes or spaces, like if you're not using a super plushy yarn and you've got like some spaces or holes around here, use your tail, thread it up, and weave it in through those stitches. So I sometimes have little spaces, but the spaces are nicely hidden using plushy yarn. So I'm just going to thread up my tail. There we go. And, you know, weave it in underneath some of those stitches. And then you can just sort of not cinch it shut. You want to have a little bit of a neck opening. This also allows you to put in any extra stuffing if you think you need it. Otherwise, just take your tail and just stuff it into the body so it acts like a little bit of extra stuffing here, and you've got an opening. And then you're going to pair those 2 openings, the neck opening and the body opening up, and you're going to thread up your needle with that long tail you left behind on the head, keeping in mind you should have the front of the body kind of facing you. If you've added eyes to your head already, then obviously you're going to want to position your head so that the eyes are facing forward. If you didn't add a face, it doesn't matter. You can just sort of get the head positioned on top of that space, and you're just going to run your needle through. I like to kind of work it around the posts of the stitches. So you have 8 stitches at the end of the body row or the body, and you have 8 stitches at the bottom of the head. So you're just stitching that head onto the body so that the spaces match up. And if you're using plushy yarn, this isn't going to show, so you don't have to worry about being super neat and tidy. Just keep trying to make sure that your 2 parts, your 2 neck holes are aligned, and then you can just sew back and forth through the body and then through the head. My only complaint about this plushy yarn is that the tail bits come off, so I try to like keep all this fluffy bits out to the side so I can make sure they're all they don't end up on my clothing or on the floor. So just kind of work your way around. Try to do one sort of set of stitches at a time, and keep making sure you pause and that you've got the head kind of resting more or less straight. No rush. I like kind of slowly stitching all the little bits and pieces onto a stuffed toy or a doll. It's I don't know, it's sweet. It's kind of like watching the little person come together. And I'm just running my needle like around the post as opposed to through stitches. I'm just kind of running it underneath a couple of stitches or around the post as I go, and then just making sure it hasn't gone to the side or it's not twisting or anything. And I'm slowly working my way around. Renee says, I have a few skeins of this yarn. I'll make up a few for my friends' grandkids. Yes, yes, yes. I've had a lot of this yarn for a while. This is that Premier Parfait. I got a bunch of it in an online. I got it came in like a bag of three per bag. It was sort of a deal on Amazon a few years ago. And I thought, oh, that's pretty stuff. I'll give that a try. And it's pretty and it's soft, but it's been sitting on my shelf kind of waiting for something to do. So this is as good a project as any. I love fluffy.
Read Sandy O's question?
Sandy O. Hey mister, can you ask Ms. if there is a tutorial on the invisible decrease, please? Hi Sandy. No, I was just taught this by the chat. I think Melissa mentioned it in the last live stream and kind of explained how to do it in the chat. So you know what? I will do a quick fix video on that a little later, maybe tomorrow.
Mini tutorial would be good.
Yeah, I'll do a quick one on it because it's such a fun little, but I'll show it using a clearer, like a more kind of regular weight yarn so you can really see what I'm doing. I'll whip up a quick fix technique tutorial for you guys. I'll try and have that up by tomorrow because it's really handy. If I'm on good form, I might even be able to get it up this evening. We'll see.
Big thank you from Sandy O.
And thank you from Melissa. She suggested it, and then I think she and Summer kind of helped guide me through it in the chat. You guys are awesome.
So now you're being taught how to crochet.
Well, that's
through the mirror, through the window.
That's how awesome this community is.
The power of the internet.
It is full of inspiration and new ideas, and you know, there's always something new to learn. I love this. I love crochet for that. I've been doing it over 30 years and there's still somebody coming along going, hey, have you tried this technique? And I'll say, what now? Love it. So yeah, I love that invisible decrease. Really fun. So here we go. We're just going to make a little knot. After you've got your head sort of neatly sewn on, make a little knot. Maybe do it twice just to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. And then you can tuck your needle into the body of either the body or the head, doesn't matter. And then I like to kind of grab it and wiggle it back and forth until that whole sewing tail has been pulled into the head or the body. It acts like stuffing and it's not going to come out. So I'm just going to wiggle my needle back and forth and do this for a little bit until it's all gone. There we go. So there's his cute little potty body and his little legs, his little wobbly head's on. Now the head's only going to be wobbly for a little bit because once we attach the arms, his head isn't going to move much. So body, legs, head, all done. So let's move on now to the arms. We're going to make 2 of these and they're both identical. We still want to use our plushy bear color. So larger hook. We're going to start with a cinch circle. So just cross your yarn, hook goes through the circle, pick up the long tail, and chain 1. Ding, ding. Hey, Sylvia. Sylvia's been a member for 3 months. Thank you, Sylvia. Sylvia popping in with a membership milestone. Glad to see you, Sylvia. I'm glad you could make it. Happy Monday. Little sip of coffee. All right. Into our cinch circle, we are going to work 6 single crochet, so not 8 like we did with the legs, just 6, working around that little short tail. There we go. Once you've got 6, grab that short tail, cinch it up, and you're going to work 2 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the first stitch of the row. I'm going to leave that short tail out, and it's just going to become stuffing. 2 single crochet into what was the first stitch of the row. Remember, we are not joining our rows with a slip stitch. We are just working continuously in the round. I'm marking stitch number 1 of row 2 with my stitch marker, so I know where it is. 2 single crochet in each stitch. We're going to go from 6 up to 12. And this is the hand, the little bottom of the arm. All right, I think that's 12. Yep. 12 stitches at the end of row 2, and now from rows 3 to 9, we just single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Easy peasy.
Melissa wants me to remind you that the decrease stitch looks best in the round and kind of looks silly on flat surfaces.
All right. Good to know. Thank you, Melissa. I would assume that's because, here's my brain working, when you're working in the round, you are naturally creating a curvature. And that invisible decrease will create a curvature because you are not giving it any slack you're not creating a loop in each stitch, you are using each stitch as the loop. So not only are you really pulling the project together, but you're creating a little bit of curvature. So I can see why that would work best in the round and maybe not so great on a flat surface.
We have a nice little chat from Kimberly who says, "Hi Jade, I love your video. You are very easy to learn from. I've been crocheting for 50 years.
Whoa. Wow, 50 years. That's awesome.
That's a lot of crochet. It's a lot of yarn.
See, this is what I mean. You can crochet an entire lifetime and still be learning stuff. And I hope that I am still learning stuff when I am, barely able to pick up a crochet hook. I want to keep learning things. I love that about any hobby, really. I just love it. I'm just zipping around here. We're going to do rows 3 through 9 continually. Just working a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. You're always going to have 12 stitches in the row. I'm just kind of using my stitch marker to mark the first stitch of the row, but you know what? I think I'm going to take it out just so I can move a little quicker, because this is the bottom of the arm. This is row 1. You can see where row 1, boom, turns into row 2, and it's easier once you've worked a few rows to sort of see those row bumps. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Obviously, I've already done 5 rows, so I'm just going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around until I have completed 9 rows in total for the arm, and then I will make another one exactly like it. Need a little bit more slack on my yarn here. Whoops. So that's my start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a couple more rows to go. And there's no decreasing on the arms. We just increase like we did with the legs. You're making basically a little cylinder, I suppose. with a closed in end. And then we're going to make 2 identical. We'll give them a little bit of stuffing and then we will stitch them to the body. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I've completed 9 rows. That is as long as you need to make your arm. They're just little short things. I'm going to just slip stitch into the next stitch and fasten off. I'm going to leave enough tail though that I can sew my arm to the neck edge, so between where the neck and the head, or the head and the body meet. There we go. So that's one little arm, and I'll stuff that in a minute. I'm going to make number 2 exactly the same way, so I'm going to give myself some slack here. Good question, Nico. When does middle age start and end? Cinch circle, chain 1, and 6 single crochet into the circle. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. 1, 2. Two single crochet in each stitch all the way around for row 2. That brings us up to 12 at the end of row 2, 12 stitches at the end of row 2, and now rows 3 through 9, we just single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So I'm going to forego use of my stitch marker now as I zip around. No joining of rows, you're just single crocheting continuously in order to create a little cylinder. And I'm just tucking that little tiny tail that I started with down into what is kind of essentially the hand of my teddy bear. It's going to be a little bit of stuffing. And now I'm going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around to the end of row 9 until it's basically identical to the first one. Then we'll stuff them. Kevin! Hi, Kevin! Kevin's been a member for 2 months. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin with a membership milestone says, "Hey Jada and Mr. InStitches and everyone." Hey, you.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, friends, we've got 245 of you watching right now. A big hello to you and all of our lurkers. Can we maybe get 245 likes on the stream too? If you're having a good time hanging out on a holiday. I'd love to see that. That helps kind of just make sure that anybody else who is subscribed will have this land in their feed, or maybe they'll get a notification. The notification system, they're always tweaking it. I don't understand why their tweaks are so funny. You should get notified if you want to be notified.
We had 242 people watching and only 109 likes. Let's go, everybody. Calling all lurkers.
Calling all lurkers. Thank you, everybody.
We promise we'll only take a small nibble if you press the like button. Just a tiny nibble. We won't bite too hard. Hey, I've got a little survey coming your way.
Oh, goody.
You ready?
Yeah. Are you elderly? No. 41%. Yes. 30%. Never. 28%. Sounds like our group. I think if you're young at heart, you're young. If you're old, you're proud of it because you made it there. And if you kind of don't really associate your life with an age or a number, I say more power to you. So
we were having this conversation in the chat. Like, what do you when are you elderly? I mean, I have no idea.
When are you elderly? Connie! Thank you,
I
Connie!
think it's all frame of mind.
Connie, another one of our gifting ninjas, has popped in with a gifted membership. Thank you so much. Fairy Queen, Danny Mom, has won it. Congratulations. Thank you, Connie. Mela has been a member for 24 months with a membership milestone. Mela says, celebrated a birthday on Friday. Happy birthday. And one of my presents was a trip to Hirschner's. Ooh, and no limit on what I wanted. It was so hard to decide. Oh my gosh. I think my brain would have just shut down. If I don't go into a yarn store with a list, I'm in trouble. Well,
wow,
happy birthday, Mela, and that
like
is
a fun day.
Nice. What a bunch
I wish we had Hirschner's around here. I've never seen a Hirschner's.
Did I do 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I did an extra row, guys. I did. Look at that. I was zipping along. I have never seen a Hirschner's.
I don't think I've ever been in a Hirschner's.
No.
Is it a bit like a Michael's?
1, 2, 3,
or
4, 5, 6,
a
7,
Joann's?
8, 9. So easy to crochet quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So took out a row. I did one extra row I didn't need to. Leave it a bit of yarn for joining. And then we're going to stuff and sew our arms. So let me get these out of the way. Not too much stuffing. You don't want your arms to be bulbous or heavy. You want them to, you also want to be able to squish the top together. Pardon?
There's only one physical Hirschner's store.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
I guess because it's mostly online.
Mostly online stuff. It's in Wisconsin. Well, that's extra special then if there's only one. Wow.
Well, I think that's all I want to do for that. So I just stuffed my arm a very little bit. I still need to be able to like pinch it shut at the top so that I can stitch it to the neck and still have a bit of mobility. So you don't want to overstuff your arm. Excuse me. All right. Okay, so that's both my arms stuffed. And now I'm going to stitch them to either side of the neck. So first thing I want to do is thread up one of the long tails. I'm going to be sewing through both sides. So I'm going to be sewing through both sides of the arm as I sew it to the neck. So, and I'm going to make sure that my arms are roughly in alignment with the side of the legs. So I'm going to pause every so often. And I'm also going to kind of pinch the top of the arm together, not just lengthwise, but kind of squeeze it a little bit into the space between the neck and the body. So if I go, you can sort of see it from the top down. I run my needle through the next 2 stitches, so the pair of it. So I'm going right through the whole side of the arm. Let me just tighten this back up again. And then I'm running it through I'm running it through a stitch along the neck. So as close to the next one as I just did. And then I pause and grab the next pair. And then I grab through the next stitch along the neck. And I keep pausing to make sure that it's not moving and it's still kind of going to be in alignment with the side of my legs. And you can reuse the same stitch along the neck a couple times if you want.
So Matilda would like to know if anyone knows of any good craft stores that sell yarn in the UK. So if anyone out there is in the UK and you know some good local stores?
Great
Put them
question.
in the chat, please.
I'm going to take my needle, excuse me, after I've done the last set of stitches along the arm and bring it all the way back through to the front again. And then I'm going to take a moment to make sure that the whole thing looks like it's tacked down nicely. And I might just run a few extra stitches through the arm and the neck just to make sure that it doesn't want to kind of come undone on me. It's just kind of like a bit of security. Just a couple.
We have a lot of teddy bear fans in the chat today.
I love teddy bears.
You joined us at the right time.
I'm going to take my needle now. I'm going to bring it out between a couple stitches in the back of my bear. And I'm just going to let it sit there because then I'm going to go sew on my other arm. And once I've got my other arm on, I'm going to bring that tail out through the same place, knot these tails together and pull the whole thing back into the body. And that way I don't have to have any bulky knots underneath his neck. So that's arm number 1 on. And now I'm going to do arm number 2. So I'm going to sew from the back to the front this time. I want to make sure that it's in alignment with my legs. And then I'm going to run my needle underneath a stitch at the neck. I love teddy bears too. I love making toys. I've always loved making toys. It's always kind of appealed to me, even when I was a little kid. And I'm reusing the same stitch along the neck a couple times to anchor arm stitches because I want to try and also kind of just pinch the tops of the arm together a little bit so that they're a little more snug underneath his neck. And then I'm going to bring this through to the front. And I'm going to do a couple of just sort of solid stay stitches. So just a couple of extra stitches just to make sure it's on there. If you're making this for a child and you know that they're going to probably not play rough with it, but they're going to really love that teddy bear, then make sure you do extra stitching in your seams when you're adding your legs and your neck and your head and everything, just to make sure that all that extra teddy bear loving doesn't, you know, want to take our poor bear apart at the seams. Then I'm going to take that needle of mine and I'm going to bring it out through the same place that I had tail number 1 come out. There we go. So there's my head and my little arms are on. So that's the front of my bear. And this is the back. And I'm going to take these 2 sewing yarns, knot them fairly tightly as I can without maybe breaking the yarn. Do it maybe 3 or 4 times.
Hey, you promised me you were going to make a normal bear and not a super cute bear. Remember, you promised?
Did I say something about a super?
You're heading towards super cuteness here.
So I've knotted them together and now I'm going to try and pull them both down back through the same hole. And those sewing threads will now act as more stuffing. So I just want to mention, since we're kind of in the middle of the live stream, that we usually end up kind of just talking about all sorts of random things and while we're doing stuff like sewing things together. Last live stream, I think we talked briefly about cozy games because video games come up a lot. That's a big hobby with Mr. InStitches and I. And I asked if it was worthwhile to get Stardew Valley on the tablet from the Play Store because I already had it on the Switch and I have it on the computer on Steam. And a few of you said absolutely you should get it. It is just, you have to just sort of get used to kind of tapping to make it go as opposed to, you know, using buttons or something like that. And so Mr. InStitches bought me the game for Valentine's Day. So later that day after our live stream, Mr. InStitches bought me the game and I've barely put it down. So I just want to say, I love the game Stardew Valley. So if you're at all interested in, you know, cozy games, or if you like the game or you've heard of it or whatever, you can get it for like, I think it's like $5 American in the Play Store, which is an absolutely astoundingly good deal because I think it's one of the best games ever made. And I have been playing it since I downloaded it last Wednesday and I can't stop. I love it. It is probably easier to play on the tablet. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for picking up a pattern. I feel like it's easier to play on the tablet than it is to play on either the Switch or the computer. So if you were considering getting it on your tablet, I highly, highly recommend it. Stardew Valley is just one of the sweetest games ever. There's no ads in it. It is just so darn fun. Anyway, yeah. So thank you, Mr. InStitches, for my Valentine's Day gift. And also thank you to the chat for recommending that I get it because it's awesome. All right, sip of coffee, head is on, arms are on. Let's do his ears. So the ears are made in two pieces. There's an outer piece that's made using the soft, fluffy bear color. And then there's an inner piece where you can change up the color and use an inner ear. So I've got plain white yarn. I thought I might do the inside of her ears in white, but you can do it any color you want. You could use more plushy yarn if you had like another plushy color you wanted. In fact, I do have a pinkish plushy yarn that I was considering using as the inside. So let me get your opinion, guys. So this is going to be for the inside of the ear. This is the outside of the ear, and this is going to be the inside of the ear. So either I use the white, or let me go get that other pink yarn. I also have this plushy yarn, which is the same weight. It's also plushy, and it's a little bit lighter in pink, but it's also got like white and purple in it. So I heard the ding, ding, ding. What's going on?
We have a membership milestone.
Why can't I see it? Let me...
From Dawn?
There it is! Dawn! Dawn has been a member for 63 months. Goodness, thank you, Dawn. Dawn says... Happy to be here this morning. Crochet is my happy place. It's definitely my happy place. I love it. Thank you, Dawn. I'm glad you guys are all here. Okay. So, inside of the ear, white or this plushy stuff? While you guys are thinking about it, let me make the outside piece so you can have a bit of a better idea of what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to make 2 of each part ultimately. So this is the outside. I'm starting with a cinch circle and I'm going to make 8 single crochets into the circle. Including you. Yeah.
I saw that, Nico. I saw that.
Nico knows where it's at.
Nico's gone into full troll mode.
Well, that's good.
No more ninja.
Somebody's got to compete with your trolling.
Once you've got
8 single crochet in that cinch circle, cinch it up nice and tight. You've got 8 stitches. We're going to continue working in the round, so no joining. Into the first stitch of the last row, you're going to work 2 single crochet. You're going to work 2 single crochet in each stitch around. I think I'm going to work over top of my short tail because this is not a round, like it's not a spherical piece. It is just sort of a 2-dimensional piece. So I'm going to work over top of my short tail, but you can weave yours in later if you want. I'm marking my first stitch, 2 single crochet in each stitch around. We're going to go from 8 to 16. Nico, Nico felt bad, so she, thank you, Nico. Nico's gifted another membership. Debbie has won it. Congratulations, Debbie.
So Carol mentioned that even though she's a member, she's receiving membership gifts. So we've never come across this before. So it could be that your membership is getting extended by a month.
Or you've been upgraded.
Or you've been upgraded. That's right. Because if you're Alpaca or Merino, you're going to get upgraded to silk.
Yeah.
So that might be what's happening. The third possibility is that it could be a glitch,
or you're just close to the end of your.
Yeah, so we'll email YouTube and see if they know about that. But I think Jade, I think you got it.
Yeah.
It might be upgrading.
That's what I think. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we'll look into it.
Okay, so that is the end of row 2. You're at to 16 stitches, and now I'm going to take my stitch marker off. We are going to single crochet into each of the next 12 stitches. So I'm just single crochet into each of the next 12. I'm going to mark that one so I can count back if I have to. 2, 3, 4. All right, so you single crochet into each of the next 12 stitches, and then that's it. It's going to make your ear cup a little bit so that you've got sort of a kind of like a cuppy little ear frame, and then we're going to fill the inside with an inner ear piece. So once you've single crocheted into each of the next 12 stitches, you can slip stitch into the next stitch and fasten off. But leave a tail, because this is what we're going to sew the ear to the head with. So leave a longish tail for sewing. I can take my stitch marker off. And now we're going to make a second one exactly like that. So we start with a stitch circle. We work 8 single crochet into it. Cinch it up nice and tight and work 2 single crochet into each stitch all the way around, so you have 16 stitches all together at the end of row 2. I'm working over top of my short tail. I'm going to mark that first stitch so I know where it is. All right, up to 16 stitches. Now for row 3, we're just going to single crochet once into each of the first 12 or the next 12, however you want to look at it. And that's just to kind of curl the top edge of our ear in. So I'm going to mark that first stitch. That's number 1. And once you've done 12, you can slip stitch into the next stitch and fasten off. Leave yourself a tail so you can sew that ear to the body of the bear, or the head of the bear, I guess, more to the point. So there's my 2 outside ears. So here we go. The ears are going to sit on either side of his head like this. And we're going to have a little inside piece for them. So the question I have for you is, do we do white inner ear, or do we do this sort of slightly lighter plushy pink inner ear? What do you think would be best? Barbara! Barbara has given us a super sticker. Thank you so much, Barbara. Oh my gosh, what a cutie. Hey, you. It's a little singing bear. And Laurel. Laurel has also given us a little super sticker. Thank you so much, Laurel. Our friendly pair with a cup of coffee. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much. So white inner ear or this plushy lighter pink inner ear? What do you guys think? And while you're thinking about that, let me show you what I was going to show you.
Should we do a poll on that?
Yeah,
one?
do a poll. Do a quick poll.
You guys want a poll or just say in the
white
chat?
Or light pink? The plushy pink.
Plushy pink or white for the inner ear?
Yep.
I told you to dial down the cuteness today.
No, I refuse.
That was the rule. The rule was that you were going to dial it down.
I don't remember this. I don't remember this rule. I don't remember agreeing to anything like this. This sounds like a scam. So there's my inner ears.
Let's see. Plushy, plushy, plushy. Pink, 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 pink. White, white, white. Pink, white. Looks like it's leaning 60-40.
Well, do a poll then.
We'll do a poll,
yeah,
everyone?
just to be sure. In the meantime, while you guys are figuring that out, I'm just going to sort of shove these to the side. I wanted to show this to you last week, but I had to dig them out. This is the big guy that I'm working on. So this is the exact same pattern. I'm using a super bulky size 6 yarn. Crocus! Thank you, Crocus! Crocus has also given us a super sticker. Aww, and it's a little fox blowing on a hot cup of hot chocolate or coffee. I love it. That's exactly what today calls for. A nice cozy cup of cocoa or something. This great big guy is the same pattern. So for comparison's sake, size 5 plushy yarn, size 6 super bulky yarn. This was one of those Bernat Pop bulky or Bernat Pop big. It's the size 6 super bulky yarn. And I used an 8mm hook with it.
Can you twist them sideways? Because we can't see the whole bear.
Yes.
There we go. Maybe the other way. Flip them around.
Flip them around?
Mm-hmm. Like that. No, put them sideways, but yeah. And up a bit. Okay. Trying to center them on the screen. I can't back out of the shot any further.
So yes, he's big. How tall is he? Let's find out. From the top of his ears to the bottom of his feet, he's almost 17 inches tall, or 43, 44 centimeters. And that's the difference in one grade of yarn. Size 5 yarn, size 6 yarn. 4.5mm hook, 8mm hook, and it pretty much doubles him up in size. So that's how big you can make this bear. I haven't finished him yet. He still needs his face and he needs his little inner ear pieces. I have been kind of sort of slowly working on him, but I love him. And I think he would picture him this big, but made with like a size 6 plushy yarn. So super big bear. That's how easily this pattern upsizes. You don't have to change the pattern. You just have to change your hook and the yarn. And frankly, the bigger you use yarn, the bigger the hook, the bigger the yarn, the easier, in my opinion, it is to see the stitches and to see where to stitch them together. He's going to need a little belly. He's going to need his like a little bit of clothing or something. And obviously he's going to need a little face. But I just love him. He's absolutely massive. Big bear. That's who I wanted to show you last week. So I'm still working on him. I'll put him back to the side. How is our poll coming, Mr. InStitches? Meanwhile, back to what now looks like a very little bear.
Everyone loves the big bear and the color you chose.
I love this too.
Yes,
I love
beautiful.
That purple and white and gray.
Lilac, and then it goes to like a gray and an off-white.
That was a self-striping ball of that Bernat Pop, the big Bernat Pop from a while back. I think I still have a couple of cakes of that in the stash. But yeah, self-striping yarn. I just kind of started and let it go from there.
Okay, I'll send the poll over.
Mm-hmm. Poll. Penelope says, oh my god, now I have to drop everything and make a bear.
Okay, let's try and get a few more votes. We're at 93.
It's quick. It's a quick little pattern. Don't be put off by it. You know, those rows go by really quickly because you're only doing like a few stitches per row. So it really isn't that slow of a project. You can sort of plunk yourself down while you're watching something and make one.
All right, here it comes.
Here comes the pole. Little darling. All right. Inside ear colors, plushy pink, 57%, white, 42%. Plushy pink it is. All right, so I'm going to make the inner ear this plushy pink. I am going to use the smaller hook for the inner ear. And let's see how well this works. So I'm going to pull a bit of this out. Let me get this out of the way. Hopefully I don't have any knots come up on me here. Let me just unravel this a little bit. Hey, Carrie! Carrie with a membership gift. Thank you so much, Carrie. Boy, we've got all kinds of gifting ninjas in the chat today. Thank you so much. Carrie, in with a gifted membership and curated life by Wigglebutt Crochet has won it. Congratulations and welcome back, Wigglebutt. I love that. Okay. The inner ear piece is very similar to the outer ear piece. We're going to start with a cinch circle. I have switched to my smaller hook now. I'm down to this 4mm or the G hook. Starting with a cinch circle. Working 6 single crochet into it now, not 8, but 6. So cinching shut at 6. Ooh, that's very tight. Let me make sure I don't break my yarn. There we go. Not joining the row. I'm going to immediately work into what was the first stitch, and they are so small. I'm just going to feel my way. I know the first stitch should be here somewhere. There it is. I'm going to work over top of my short tail. I'm going to work 2 stitches into each stitch all the way around. So 6 single crochet in row 1, 2 single crochet in each stitch for row 2. That brings me up to 12. I'm just going to make sure I mark that first stitch with my stitch marker so I always know where it is. Feeling my way around through this plushy yarn for the next stitch. Or I can just count 2 in each stitch 6 times, knowing that I've gotten to 12. Working over top of that short tail, and that's 12. That's the end of row 2. That's 12 stitches at the end of row 2. Now I'm going to continue to increase a little bit. I'm going to work 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and I'm going to mark that first stitch, and now 1 single crochet into the next stitch. So we're going up to 18 stitches. 2 single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet once into the next stitch. So that little increase pattern is done 6 times all the way around. 2, 1, 2, 1. We'll be up to 18 stitches, and that will be the inside ear piece. And 1 more little increase, 2, and then 1. So that is the inner ear piece. You can slip stitch into the next stitch, fasten off, and leave a tail because you need to sew it to the outer ear. So, and then we're going to make a second one because there are 2 ears. So that's piece number 1, and it will basically fit inside that first piece, and because I'm using plushy, it's going to be almost the same size twice. Deanna, thank you. Thank you for picking up a pattern, Deanna. And Melissa, I saw you there with a note about the download. If you have problems with the downloads, if you're downloading files from Etsy, guys, 2 big pointers. One, if you're using a computer, you just go into your purchases and reviews. Like you click on purchases and reviews. You should see your receipt there with the download button right next to it. If you're using a phone or a tablet though, you have to sign out completely from the Etsy app before you do anything else. Because if you don't sign out of the Etsy app and you try to log into Etsy through your internet browser, it will just force you back into the app, and we can't download files via the app. It is stupid and annoying, but that's the whole app problem. And it used to be that it wouldn't force you back into the app, but it does now. So before you try to download your patterns using a tablet or a phone, just sign out of the app, log in using your internet browser, and then you treat it like you're on a small computer basically. Go to you, purchases and receipt. Your receipt will be there. The download button will be attached to your receipt. Just download it from there. Or if you're using the link from your email, you can do that too. But you make sure you're signed out of that Etsy app first. And then it works. And if you do have any problems at all, just message us. We'll be happy to help.
What would you recommend if you're a beginner making a stuffed toy? What would you recommend for plush yarn? What would be the best plush yarn?
Well, if you're a beginner and if you're used to crocheting and you've never worked with plushy yarn before, I would pack your patience, because it's even for somebody like myself who's experienced, trying to see those stitches can be really frustrating. But the Bernat blanket yarn is technically plushy, but it's not invisible. Like, this kind of yarn is very fluffy and plushy, so it makes a really nice looking bear. Not that the Bernat blanket yarn wouldn't. But the Chanel yarn is a little more easy to see the stitches, so maybe you might want to start with that as opposed to jumping into something velvety. I would maybe call this velvety. But if you are comfortable seeing your stitches, or you've worked with plush yarn before, then it's not about the yarn. So if you've worked with plush yarn making blankets or hats or bags or something like that, then you already know how to identify your stitches. So switching sideways to make a stuffed toy isn't going to be problematic. You will still be able to see your stitches. It's just about working in the round, or working in a slightly more confined area, like a smaller piece. In which case you might want to do your first stuffed toy with a chenille style plush yarn, because it's a little easier to see the stitches. And once you've done it once, you kind of like make the pattern a second time using something a little more plush, like the velvet style yarn. So I would call this kind of velvety, because the pile on it is so soft and fluffy that it mixes with its neighbor stitches pile. So it's not as easy to see the stitches. And if you're unsure, buy a ball of whatever really appeals to you and crochet a small sampler. That way you get used to how it feels on your hook, how it feels in your hand, what the stitches kind of look like. So if you're making a stuffed toy that's single crochet, you make a little single crochet sampler. Summer's telling me that Parfait is a 6 weight, but it's on the smaller size of 6. And I'm here to argue that. This comes up as a 5. And so maybe the new Parfait is a little thicker. But this comes up as a size 5, and I just need to make sure I thank somebody. So this is the Parfait label that I've got here. And it calls itself a bulky size 5, or a chunky bulky size 5. So maybe, and that was Elle. Thank you, Elle. Thank you for picking up the pattern. Maybe what's going on here is that they've they've kind of either repackaged Parfait, or they're making it a bit thicker than it was. But I have a 5, and I would say that's definitely a 5, because this is a 4 and this is the Parfait, and I can feel the squish. If I squish it down, it's not that much bigger than the 4, but I definitely wouldn't call it a 6, because this guy is a 6. This is definitely 6 weight yarn. You can sort of see those stitches there. See how big those stitches are? If I stick my hook through it, you can see how big they are. That's a 6 weight yarn, and I feel like this is the little 5 weight that I'm using here, and you can see kind of like how different those stitches are. So maybe Parfait has changed, or maybe they're making it thicker.
Keep in mind, we bought that yarn many years ago.
A couple years ago now.
But Jeanette says there is Parfait and Parfait Chunky.
Ooh, well, this is definitely just regular Parfait. It's not Parfait Chunky. So maybe there's Parfait Chunky. Well, if this is Parfait, I'm going to have to try the Parfait Chunky because I like how this feels. My only complaint is that it doesn't unravel very easily. It will tangle pretty spectacularly. And then the ends kind of want to come off.
Summer says they also have Parfait XL.
XL.
So there's been some changes.
Okay. Thank you, Summer. That is good to know. Also, I am going to
Summer, stop reminding us that the years are going by.
Yeah, you're making me feel old, Summer.
Stop it, Summer.
But good to know. Yeah, so just so you know, I am definitely using a 5 weight for this particular bear. But as you saw on Mr. Gigantic Bear there, you can use a size 6 too. And if you get your hands on some of this plushy extra XL or chunky, bulky, whatever extra adverbs they want to stick on it or adjectives they want to stick on it, if it's a size 6, use the larger hook. Our pattern gives you a good idea of what hooks you can pair with what weight yarn, but ultimately it comes down to your own tension. So don't feel confined by a recommended hook size or even a directed hook size in the pattern for this case, because if your stitching is kind of on the loose side, you want to use a smaller hook. And if your stitching is super tight, like if you're an under wrap kind of crocheter, then you might need to use a bigger hook. So don't feel confined. Use what's comfortable for you. All right, slip stitch into the next stitch, fasten off, leave a tail. That is going to get sewn to the inside of my other ear. Let's do that. Jada, do you use a lighter at the end of your channel, your yarn to keep it from fraying? No. That works on, like, I guess some polyesters. I wouldn't do that on this because it's not going to undo forever, and all of my tails are getting tucked into the inside of the bear. So I'm not terribly worried about it endlessly coming apart. And I would be concerned that if I did melt it, there would be like a bit of a pointy, picky feeling to it if it was sort of sticking out. So, but this doesn't unravel, like it doesn't come apart forever. It's just sort of the end where you cut it. So it's not that gigantic a deal. Nico! Thank you, Nico. Nico has gifted another 5 memberships. Oh my gosh. Gifting Ninja swoops in. Who has won? Congratulations to Carrie, Joni, Judy, Anna Victoria, and Darla. Thank you so much. Sweet, sweet Nico. All right, everybody, this is how you sew the inner ear to the outer ear. You're looking for the part of the outer ear that wants to kind of curl inwards. I like to, where this tail is coming out of it, I like to pair up where the two basically ends are. And then I'm going to just peel back the outer ear so that I'm looking at the tops of the stitches. I'm just grabbing a loop of the stitch, and then I'm going to sew, I should say, right through the edge of the inner ear. So here's the front facing loop of a stitch, and then through the edge of the inner ear piece. And I'm just going to stop every once in a while and make sure that it kind of stays in the middle, because the outer ear is going to kind of curve around the inside of the ear. So these are going to be super plush little ears. And I'm just grabbing the stitches along the outside. It's the loop of the front of the stitch along that last row of the outer ear, and I'm actually sewing through the edge. So front facing loop of the outer ear through the side of the whole stitch, through the edge of the whole stitch, I should say, on the inner ear. And I'm just going to do this all the way around, constantly making sure that I'm not kind of out of sync. Grabbing a front-facing loop, edge of the piece. Summer, is that the yarn you used to make that goblin? Was that the Parfait XL, or was that something else? Because I loved the color of that. If you're still here. Deanna! Oh my gosh, Deanna, thank you! Jada, do you have a scepter to go with the crown? No. We should make a scepter to go with our crown. We have a really cute crown pattern, a crown tutorial. We should make a scepter. I love that idea. That's a great idea. Gee, I feel like I had that written down once upon a time. I should get on that. That makes sense. You got to have a scepter to go with the crown. All right. Once you've stitched it on all the way around, so there's the back of the ear and none of that stitching is showing through. There's the front of the ear and the edge of that outer ear just sort of curves around the inner ear. That's a really plushy ear now. And you can just make a quick knot. I'm going to do one last little stitch here. I'm going to make a knot. I'm only going to do it once, and then I'm going to take this tail and I'm going to weave it in underneath some of the loops of the same colored yarn. And if there's anything left, I'm going to actually pull it into the inside of the ear, between the inner ear and the outer ear parts, and it will just make it a little bit more fluffy and plushy. All right, so I'm just going to pull this to the inside. So I bring my needle out and then I put my needle back in between the two, the inner ear and the outer ear, and I'm just wiggling my needle back and forth to try and pull that little bit of tail in, and you'll notice there's nothing on the outside. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same thing with the second ear. You also can just trim this. You don't have to wiggle it in, especially if you feel your ears are a little on the bulky side. That's fine too. There we go. Plushy.
What's the deal we have on the bear pattern today? Is it 20% off?
It is 15% off.
15% off. Okay.
Hi, Kiwes. Our membership, the most recent members pattern, Kiwes, it was the, help me out, gang. It was the, what was it? It was in just the tail end of January. The poof. It was our bath poof pattern. We have something else coming for the members this month. So now that's the Silk and Vicuña members, and that the free patterns for Silk and Vicuña are over on the membership web, or the members web page over on our website. So thanks for reminding me of that, Kiwes. Tori, hi Tori. Tori's been a member for 41 months. Thank you, Tori. Tori says, miss you guys so much. Can't wait for the March square. Gosh, March is even coming quickly, isn't it? I can see the March square from where I'm sitting. Tease, tease, tease.
So far, the March square is my favorite.
Yes. Might be my favorite too so far,
yes,
but I say that every time.
Definitely my favorite so far. When is March? A couple of weeks?
A couple of weeks away. Tori's also hoping we can do a
19th.
Sunday live stream at some point. I think we might be able to. We try to have the odd surprise live stream now and again, especially on the weekends. We have pretty busy weeks though, so if we are going to live stream though, we always let the members know. Everybody gets a notification. All right. So once again, no stitching is showing through to the back. Holy smokes. Carrie, thank you. Carrie has just picked up a pattern. Thank you so much. I'm going to just make one last little stitch here, and then I'm going to knot it. Weave it through a few stitches, pull whatever's left into the inside of the ear, and those are my two ears, and then I will stitch them to the bear. And like I said, you don't have to pull the tails to the inside. You can also just trim whatever's left. I just kind of like the opportunity to have a thicker, fatter ear.
Fairy Queen would like another gaming live. Absolutely. We actually intended to do one this week, but we didn't have time. And then the weekend flew by, but we'll try for this week. So either midweek or maybe on the weekend.
Yes.
We'll post to the members community post, and we'll let you know if we're going to do that. And if anyone's interested in that, we do gaming and crochet. I try to play games while Jada crochets, works on projects. It's just a chill hangout.
Very chill hangout.
But it's on Mr. InStitches channel. So I'll post the link.
Thank you, Emily.
And if you want to just hang out once in a while, if you subscribe, then it should pop up in your feed. Let me see if I have that here.
Okay. Once you've got your inner ear stitched to your outer ear, you can stitch your ears to the head of your bear. So you're going to use that long tail that you left on the outer ear piece. And I like to just kind of pick up my bear, look at the top of it, look at the way it sort of sits. I don't want them too high. I don't want them too far out, but just sort of just to the kind of not too high. That's kind of more like a rabbit. This is more like a monkey. So I want them more like a bear, which is kind of just, you know, a couple inches apart, kind of curving down the side of the top of the head. Hey, Barbara! Barbara has upgraded her membership. Thank you, Barbara. Oh my goodness gracious. Deanne, thank you. Deanne has picked up a couple more patterns. Thank you so much. So all you're going to do is thread up that tail, and then just very simply, you're only going to attach it across maybe 2 or 3 stitches. So you want to sew through the top of the head, through the bottom of the ear, and then again through sort of the side, one of the stitches through the bottom of the ear. And I only do this, I only connect it really between, say, 3 stitches on the ear and on the head, but then I go back and forth a few times to make sure that ear is really on there. So there's my ear, and now I'm going to go back through the same stitches 2 or 3 times because I don't want the ear to flop around. And I also don't want the ear to be easily pulled off. I'm just making sure I get the same stitches every single time. Madeline! Thank you so much! Thank you for picking up a pattern. So there we go. The ear is on. I'm going to come all the way back down. And I'm just going through the same stitches on the head and the same stitches on the bottom of the ear. Again, if you're using plushy yarn, your sewing really just doesn't show, which is really nice. You don't have to be good at sewing. You don't even have to be that careful about where you're putting your needle, because it doesn't really show the stitches. So there we go. Getting ear number 1 on is pretty easy. Once you've sewn it down, I'm going to take my needle and poke it through the head to the back, kind of like what we did with the arms. Bring it out between a couple of stitches and just let it hang there until I get ear number 2 on. Ear number 2, the tricky part is just making sure that it sits roughly balanced opposite ear number 1. So yeah, that'll do. So I'm just a little bit off to the side. I do that first stitch and then yeah, that'll do. And then I just start sewing it down. And the same thing, I'm only going to go through 3 stitches along the bottom of the ear and 3 stitches along the side of the head. Pause again, make sure that my ears are both sitting in roughly the right place. I'd say that looks pretty balanced. And now I'm going to sew back through the same stitches. And I'm going to do this a couple times just to make sure that it's on there and it doesn't want to come undone. What are you guys up to? You're like a friendly punching bag. Huh. Yeah. Well,
I thanked everyone for their support. We really appreciate it. And
thank you, Kimberly.
Nico said they support you because they love you, and I'm a good helper. So I said, what do you mean? No love for me? And that's Nico's reply.
Nico thinks you're
I'm like a friendly punching bag. Sure, why not? I'll take the hits.
All right, I'm bringing both my yarn tails through the same place on the back of the head of the bear, knotting them together just like we did with the arms.
I think I heard it to Jane.
Yes, that was Kimberly. Big thank you to Kimberly. And then I'm going to just pull those 2 tails into the head. Oh my goodness. Lauren, thank you so much for picking up a pattern. There we go. I like this little technique of just wiggling your tail. You're kind of just you're wiggling around your tail, your needle to find the tails of those yarns.
FYI, you just dialed up the cuteness to like 20.
I did?
With the ears.
Oh. Well,
You're
it's
supposed
a
to keep
bear.
the cuteness tampered, remember?
I don't think you understand
That
how
was the
teddy bears
deal.
work. Teddy bears are cute. A little bit more here. There we go. There we go. And done. So, body, head, arms, ears. That is the main part of the bear put together. Now we want to make his snout. We want to sew his eyes on later and maybe add a little tummy, maybe dress him up if he feels like he needs a little something to stay warm. I mean, he's plushy, so he doesn't need a whole lot. But let's get into the snout right away. So the snout is the little kind of like the little round circle that sits on his face that his nose is embroidered onto. So I'm going to use my smaller hook, the 4mm or the G6. I'm going to use that white yarn I had set aside. So this is a size 4 medium weight regular acrylic yarn that I'm using with the smaller hook in white. You can use any color you want, but I recommend like a solid color. I'm going to start with a cinch circle. Going to work 6 single crochets into the circle. Goodness me, Roseanne, thank you so much for picking up a couple of patterns. So there's 6. Double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Grab the short tail, cinch it up nice and tight. And we're going to continue to work in the round, so no joining of rows. I'm going to work over top of my short tail, but you can just leave it out to the back if you want, no big deal. We're going to work 2 single crochet in each stitch all the way around to go from 6 stitches in row 1 to 12 stitches in row 2. I'm going to put my stitch marker on stitch number 1 so I don't lose track of where I am. 2 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. There we go. And one more row. We're going to keep going with the increase. We're going to work 2 single crochet into the next stitch to start row 3. I'm going to mark that first stitch with my stitch marker, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and repeat 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet. We're going from 12 to 18 stitches. Nico. Goodness gracious, Nico, thank you. Nico has gifted another membership. And Yvonne has won it. Congratulations, Yvonne.
Read Betty's comment.
Oh my goodness.
Just below Nico.
You guys are having way too much fun here. Betty says, typing a message at work, started typing cute and not at an appropriate time. This lurker is listening.
Betty's emails to all her colleagues are going to be cute teddy bear, cute teddy bear, cute teddy
Oh my
bear.
gosh, what a cute teddy bear. Mary, thank you. Thank you for picking up a few patterns. Thank you so much. All right, at the end of row 3, you'll have 18 stitches. You can slip stitch into the next stitch and fasten off. You want to leave yourself a long tail because you're going to sew this snout to the face of your bear with that tail. We are not done yet. We want to add a little nose. Now, I want to remind, I just want to say that Maria, who I mentioned earlier in the chat, or in the stream, who already made a bear, she sort of worked on ahead with the pattern, made a bear, and she sent me the photo on Friday, and it's adorable. She used safety eyes and a little safety nose. So she used a little plastic nose on her bear. So if you've got a safety nose, you can add that to the snout right here and then sew the snout down. If you don't have things like a safety nose like me, then you can just do a little bit of embroidery. I'm going to use a bit of brown yarn here, and I'm going to show you how to just quickly do a little face. So I'm snipping myself about I don't know, a yard and a half of yarn in brown. It's also a size 4 medium weight, but it can really be anything. I like to leave where I fastened off, I leave this to the bottom. You can see I've got little row 1, row 2, and row 3. So I'm going to focus on the top 2 rows, and I'm going to bring my brown yarn up through a space between stitches directly opposite the bottom. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail to the back so I can make a knot. So I'm just going to hold that with my thumb and forefinger. And then I'm going to just embroider a little triangle. So I'm always going to be coming out through this hole, the same space here. But I'm going to just go first on this side. I go up through the top of that stitch and then carefully bring my needle up to the same hole. Oh, Mr. InStitches has gifted 5 memberships. So we are able to gift some memberships too. Thank you so much, Catherine, for picking up a couple of patterns. And thank you to my sweetie for gifting some memberships.
Cheers.
5 gifted memberships. Let's see who's won here. Congratulations to Liz and Kim, Mandy, BJ, Alma. Is that 5 of you? Yes, Liz, Kim, Mandy, BJ, and Alma. Congratulations, gang. Thank you, Mr. InStitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to hop over 5 stitches to create the other kind of side of the triangle. So you can sort of see I've got a line here. It comes from the same spot. A line there. It comes from the same spot. And now I'm just going to kind of fill this in, always coming through the same bottom spot. And you can go through the same place a few times to kind of make it a bit heavier. I'm going to go through each of those 5 stitches though, just to kind of start so you can sort of see where I'm at. Don't do it too tightly. Oh my goodness gracious. Mary, thank you. Thank you for picking up another pattern. And now I don't really have to hold that. I'm just going to kind of keep it out of the way. And I'm just going to keep coming up through the same point. I'm making a triangle. I can go through the same few stitches a couple times. So I'll go back through that. And then I'll go back through this one. If you use a thicker yarn, then you don't have to embroider quite as much. If you use a thinner yarn, you might find yourself having to do a few more passes, but that's not a big deal. So, you know, use whatever yarn you've got on hand or whatever color you think makes a nice little nose. And just embroider yourself a simple little triangle nose. There we go. Now you can also do the top bits here. So for example, I came out over there. Let me just carefully bring my needle in through the top up here. Not too tight. And then I can hop over maybe to the middle one. And I'm just sort of filling in that top bit, and then I'll come out through here. Again, not pulling tightly. And I'll go back out through the same one in the middle. And that just sort of kind of just fills it in. So now you've got like a little bit of a nose. Now I'm going to come back out through that bottom point, bottom of the nose, and I'm just going to do a simple little mouth. So I go straight down. I can either do like a little half piece and a couple of little side kind of like he's got a little bit of a, what do you call that? Is that part that it's not quite the mouth, but it's like a little line between the nose and the mouth. Somebody out there knows it. You can come straight down like this and just have a very simple little finish, or you can go down, just hop over the middle, which was row 1, and then do 2 little kind of curving lines. I want to keep that out of the way. A couple of curving lines. Back down to the bottom of that little line and out the other side too, and this will give it just like a little kind of a downward facing mouth. I want to make sure that's fairly even. Yeah, that's about right. And then back up to that same place. There we go. There's his little face, little mouth, and his little nose on his snout. Then you can just tie those 2 little ends together. So I've left that one little bit. I'm going to tie a simple knot. If you're unsure or it's slippery yarn, do it a few times. You don't have to do any weaving. Cut your other tail fairly short. It's going to be hidden behind your snout.
Philtrum.
A philtrum. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. It's called the philtrum. This little line right here. That is not a word I would have remembered. And then we can sew on the snout. So thread up the tail left on your little snout piece. Make sure those little bits are just tucked in underneath it. Position it in the center of the face or the center of the head, and then I usually like to just hold it in place while I pick up front-facing loops on the bear and then right through the edge of the snout stitches. And pause to make sure it's not moving on me. I want it to stay nice and straight. Pick up a loop, pick up the side stitch. I'm always kind of grabbing loops that are just a little in and not directly underneath where the edge of the snout is. It's just kind of a little bit underneath. He doesn't even have his eyes yet, and he's so cute. Now, like I said, you could use safety eyes. I would have recommended adding those to your bear before you stitch the bear's head onto the body. But if you are using buttons or googly eyes, or there's so many options out there. You could even crochet some if you wanted to. I'm using covered buttons. And I am carefully getting underneath the edge of the stitch, and I'm not grabbing the nose embroidery I just did. So taking my time.
Looking cuter and cuter every minute.
Oh, he's cute. You know what he kind of reminds me of? This color? He reminds me of that strawberry bear from Toy Story. What was his name?
Oh, yeah. I see that a little bit because of the coloring.
Yeah. Now, he doesn't smell like a strawberry, but...
Hey, we've got some chopped up strawberries here.
We do.
You can rub them all over the bear.
Somebody knows his name. What's his name? Wraith is watching the neighbor's building burn down. That's exciting. That's great.
Crochet and burning building.
Crochet and burning
Sounds like
building.
an interesting Monday.
Lotso! Thank you, Storm. Lotso. His name was Lotso. Lotso the bear.
Lotso. That's the little one, the little pink bear.
That's the strawberry covered bear.
Okay.
He ended up being a bit of a jerk.
Yeah, toward the end there.
Yeah. He was sort of a mafia gang leader. I guess toys aren't as friendly as they used to be.
Lotso.
Working my way around the edge. Almost done.
Mary asks, how do we make safety eyes? Is it in the pattern?
Safety eyes are a product. Safety eyes are the things that are usually in stuffed animals. I'm looking wildly around the craft room. I'm looking to see if I actually have some, but they're stuffed away in my craft box. Otherwise, I'd pull them out. I used to make teddy bears out of real fur and plush and stuff. Safety eyes are they're two pieces. They're an eye that looks kind of like the top of a covered button, and they've got a long shank that sticks out the back, like, quite a long ways, and it's ridged, and then there's a disc with a hole in it that's the other half. You put the shank and the eye through the front of your fabric, then you take the disc and you fit it over the end of the shank of the back of the safety eye, and you push it up, and it acts like a zip tie. It goes bump, 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 and it won't come off. So this big wide disc is braced as up against the back of your eye, and the fabric is sandwiched in between. And it's called a safety eye because that disc is pretty big, and it's supposed to not pull out through either the fabric or the stitches of your bear. So safety eyes are something you can find at the craft store, in the doll making area, teddy bear making area. It might be in sort of the same section where you'd find beads and buttons and stuff. I know every craft store is a little bit different. If you're not sure where to find them, just pop in and ask whoever's working there. Say, I'm looking for safety eyes. I'm making, stuffed toys. And they'll know exactly what you're looking for. And the options. Oh my goodness. You can get so many pretty different kinds now. You can get super plain ones that are just like this, like a plain black covered looking thing. And you can get them that are all sparkly and they've got hearts in them. I mean, obviously it's just limitless what's available right now. But you can also look them up on the internet. Just do a quick Google image search, stuffed toy safety eye, and all sorts of options will pop up for you. I am sure you can probably even order them off of places like Amazon.
If anyone has a name for Jada's little bear here, go ahead and put your ideas in the chat.
Once you're finished stitching all the way around, make a tiny little knot at the end. Make it as small as possible. And then you can weave the tail in.
Rosalie works.
Rosalie, aww.
This little bear looks like a little Rosalie.
That would be cute. Rosalie.
Rosalie Buttercup Hernandez.
Wow, that is adorable.
That's what I think we should name this bear.
Rosalie Buttercup Hernandez. I think that's adorable. All right, once you've knotted
Rosalie Buttercup Jones?
or Jones, you can stick your needle right through the bear, right out the other end, pull that tail out, and then just sort of same thing, wiggle it back and forth, and that little end will disappear. There you go. So the snout's on. Rosalie. Aww. And I've got 2 covered buttons to use as my eyes, so I'm going to sew my eyes on now because I like to get her little face finished. Oh my gosh, this is cute. And you can decide where you want to put your eyes, if you want to put them on either side of the snout, up a little higher, close together. It really does change the look of the bear depending on where you want to put it. Let me grab my needle and thread. I think that's enough. Is that enough thread?
The ears look like little donuts. It's true.
So maybe I should call her Donut?
They look like little donuts. So cute. Ooh, where to put the eyes? Look how much it changes the face.
Colt suggests the name Pinky Blue. That's cute. I like Pinky. Pinky Blue.
Pinky Blue. Rosebud Bear.
Rosebud Bear. Oh, that's cute.
Eleonora.
I like Rosebud Bear because it's ba-ba. I like that. alliteration. Pinky Rosebud. Rosalie Pinky.
How about sprinkles?
Sprinkles!
Because her little ears look like a donut.
They do look like donuts. Donut Sprinkles. Sprinkles the bear. Oh my gosh, that's cute. What about Pinky Sprinkles?
Pinky Sprinkles? Yeah, that's a good one.
To the side. Up a little higher maybe. Yeah, up a little higher. I'm going to put them up just a little higher. So that's where her eyes are going to sit, just on either side of the snout. Like I said, when you're deciding, your eyes can be different sizes. So if you've got bigger buttons than me, you're going to maybe want to sort of fiddle around with where you place them. If you used safety eyes, then, you know, when you're putting your safety eyes on, you're going to decide, you know, how you like them spaced, and that will dictate where you put your snout. So you can also sort of have your snout sitting just sort of a little bit over top of your eyes, like the eyes are tucked in underneath the snout, which is what a lot of animals look like. You kind of can't see their full eye because there's a little bit of fur usually covering it. So, you know, fiddle around with placement. Don't be shy with experimentation. I'm just going to anchor my sewing yarn and sew eye number 1 down. And I'm just using an old pair of covered buttons because I love that kind of classic old-fashioned made-at-home toy, homemade toy kind of feel where you kind of use whatever's lying around. So I like these little buttons. These are covered buttons from my grandmother's collection. Thank you, Sherry. Sherry has picked up a pattern. Thank you so much. So I'm pretty sure these buttons were covered by her, and they were probably covered for some outfit she was making. Judging by the fabric on these buttons, I'm going to say they're from the 70s. So these buttons have been waiting a long time to be something, and I think that's probably good enough. I'm going to bring my thread across the face to the other place where I want to have my other button stitched down. And I'm going to do number 2. And just make sure that that's fairly even. Looks even to me. All right. So the pattern also includes a tummy. So you can make a little like kind of a tummy for your bear. That is optional. If you like the way your bear looks without a tummy, you don't have to add the tummy. You know, not all bears have a really visibly different furry belly, but you can certainly go ahead and add one. Maria made a heart shape for hers, which I thought was super cute. Ours, the pattern just calls for like a nice little oval that kind of covers his little belly, and I'm going to use the same pink fluffy plushy yarn to make the belly as soon as I have these buttons sewn on. And I'm going to say that's good. So I'm going to just make the tiniest little knot at the side of the snout underneath the eye here. I want to make sure that I do create a knot with my thread. I'll do it a couple times. Ding, ding. Oh, Nico. Oh my goodness, Nico. Nico has gifted another membership. Thank you so much, Nico. What do we got here?
Ninja.
Jane has won it. Thank you. And thank you, Dawn. Thank you for picking up a pattern. So congratulations to Jane for winning a gifted membership. Thank you to Nico for gifting it. Goodness gracious. I'm just going to pull my needle through a few stitches and then carefully snip it so I don't get my yarn. Needle goes back in my needle book so it doesn't get lost. Okay, there's the face on. There's her little nose. I'm just going to loosen up the stitches in her nose a little bit. There we go. Just to kind of tighten up a couple here and there. There we are. Oh, what a cutie. Okay, so now she needs a little belly. So let's make her little belly. Holy smokes. Janet, thank you for picking up a couple of patterns. Thank you so much. All right, one belly coming up. So she's got her snout, she's got her eyes, she's got her belly on. Let's get our belly on. All right, I'm going to use the same plushy yarn for her belly because I just love the way it looks inside her ears. And I think if we're going to call her Pinky Sprinkles, then she should have more sprinkles. So let's go. Whatever yarn you're using for your belly, again, you could use more of the same snout. You could use more of the plushy yarn that you use for your inner ear. You could use something completely different altogether if you want, or leave it completely free. You don't have to put a belly on your little bear. Here we go. We are going to make a cinch circle. We're going to chain 1 to secure the circle and 6 single crochet into the circle, working over top of that short tail so we can cinch it shut. I'm using my smaller hook. So there's 6 single crochet. I'm going to cinch it up nice and tight. I'm going to work directly into the first stitch. Again, no joining with a slip stitch. We are just working straight. Tori says should do a heart-shaped belly. I think that's cute, but I wanna do what's in the pattern. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you for picking up a couple of patterns. I want to do what's in the pattern just so if anybody's using the pattern or following along, they know what to do. If you wanted to use a heart, we have a tutorial for a granny heart, which would look really cute. We have a tutorial for a small little heart, which would also be very cute. So you could absolutely use a little heart. Maybe a star. We have a crochet star, so a star would be cute there too. Any little shape would be cute. I'm going to go for the kind of circular belly though, just so it's the same as the pattern. So if anybody needs to have a visual reference for the pattern, then we're going to do that. So we're going to work directly into what was the first stitch of row 1. I'm going to work over top of my short tail. You don't have to, you can leave it to the end. 2 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So I'm going to work my first 2, put my stitch marker in so I can tell where that plushy little stitch is. 2 single crochet in each stitch, going from 6 to 12. All right, that's 12. That's the end of row 2. For row 3, we're going to continue. We're not joining our yarn with a slip, or joining our rows with a slip stitch. We're going to continue working in the round. 2 single crochet in the first stitch to start row 3. I will mark that first stitch with the stitch marker. There we go. Followed by a single crochet in the next stitch. And then 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. We're going to repeat that little increase pattern all the way around. We're going from 12 stitches at the end of row 2 up to 18 stitches at the end of row 3. All right, that is the end of row 3. That's 18 stitches. 1 more row of increasing. Row 4, we're going to go from 18 to 24 stitches. We're going to start with 2 single crochet in the first stitch. I'm going to mark that first of the 2. A single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And then we start again. 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Single crochet into each of the next 2. 2 single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in each of the next 2. Just feel your way around. If you're not used to using plushy yarn, just feel your way around. That next stitch will be right where your hook wants to go. 1, 2, single crochet, followed by 1, and then each of the next 2. I think I could take my stitch marker out. That's 24 single crochet to finish off row 4. I'm just going to single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches just to sort of even things up. Not necessary, doesn't change your stitch count. And that is going to be her little belly. So I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch, fasten off, leave enough tail that I can sew this down to the belly of my bear. There we go. And let's jump right into that. I'm going to thread up that tail. I'm going to maybe start with this down. Make sure it's nice in the middle. And just like I did with the snout, I'm going to grab a front-facing loop on a stitch on the bear and go through the entire edge of the stitch of the belly, the little belly piece. So grabbing front-facing loop, grabbing belly piece. And I'm going to keep making sure that I don't move it as I stitch. There we go. Making sure I get the whole edge of the stitch as best I can see it since I'm using plushy yarn. The nice thing with plushy yarn is that your stitches don't really show, so don't worry about trying to be super neat and tidy. Happy Monday, Taz! It is a very happy Monday. I am stitching with the craftiest community on the internet. We're making a stuffed bear, a pink stuffed bear. It's a holiday here in Canada.
And in the US, I believe.
And in the US. I mean, does it get better than that? I guess a pizza for dinner would probably make it perfect.
What? Now you're speaking my language. Did you say pizza?
I said pizza.
Everyone, this live stream is now over. Gotta go.
All right, a couple more stitches left to go here. I like this I like this using plushy yarn again. I was going to just use this regular weight yarn all the way through for all the little pieces, but I think using the plushy yarn is kind of fun. I like the way it's turned out. So once you get the whole thing stitched down, don't miss that last stitch. Make yourself a tiny little knot. So I like to sort of run my needle under a loop of a stitch, then run my needle through that loop of yarn I created, and I carefully make sure that it's tight as possible. And then same thing, I'm going to just pull the needle with the yarn into the body of the bear. I'm going to go right through to the back and bring it out. And make sure that I don't pull it too tight. And then I'm just going to weave it in by wiggling my needle back and forth until it disappears. There we go. Pinky Sprinkles. What a cute bear. Oh my gosh. So
name. Pinky Sprinkles.
I like this bear.
She has a little tail.
I like
you gonna do a little puff tail?
No, she doesn't have a tail. No tail in that.
No tail? Little tiny
I think most of my teddy bears don't actually have a tail.
Like a little, what do you call those? It slipped my mind. A pom-pom.
A pom-pom?
Mm-hmm. Just one little
I
pom-pom?
wonder if I can use one of these. Why not? I don't know. I don't think she needs a tail.
Doesn't need it.
I like her being able to.
I like the little belly.
I like her little
the
belly.
little belly. It's cute.
She's got a squishy little belly. There we go.
Well, that's an adorable bear. My goodness.
This pattern has options.
Boom.
Yeah, goodness gracious. It's
That
almost like
is
this
a
is a
big
toy
bear.
for this bear. So the teddy bear pattern that we've got, it's up on the featured listings of the shop. So if you picked it up, thank you so much. If you're going to pick it up, you'll find it right up top there. It is, you do not have to vary the pattern stitch wise if you want to make a regular sized plushy bear like the pink one, like Pinky Strawberry or Pinky Sprinkles here. Or if you want to make a super big one like my purple gray white one. You're just changing the yarn weight and the hook size. Similarly, if you wanted to make it smaller, let's say you were working with a DK weight yarn or a fingering weight yarn, like you had some leftover sock yarn and you wanted to make an itty bitty little bear, same thing. You just make your hook sizes smaller to go with your yarn. So for the big super bulky size 6 yarn here, I used an 8mm or an L. This was a size 5 plushie, but it's a squishy plushie, so I stuck with my 4.5mm for pretty much all the pieces. For the little small pieces, I went down a half hook size to a 4mm. If you were going to use like a fingering weight or a sock weight yarn, you'd probably want to use like maybe a 2.5, a 3mm hook. Something small that gives you small tight-ish stitches that stuffing isn't going to show through. And then to make the smaller bits, you could go down an even smaller hook if you wanted. You don't have to. But yeah, and then he would be smaller again. So big bear, little bear, all the same pattern. It's just how you change up your yarn weight and your hook size. I have to do his inner ears. He needs his face. But I like how big this guy is too. All right, my dears. Does anybody have any questions about our teddy bear here? Hook, yarn, stuffing. I had another pair of smaller eyes. These are also smaller covered buttons. I was thinking about using those, but I think I like the bigger ones I used.
We have one from Fairy Queen.
Hey, Fairy Queen. Jada, anyway, you can make a video to show more borders for the sweet welcome baby blanket. I have made 8 of them. Oh my goodness. And I'm working on one being twin size and would like a different one. I think we've got other borders that would work on that. Let me just think. Because the sweet welcome, yeah, that's kind of and then you've got like the double crochet running along the edge. Our little petals, the little petals pattern would work. The 2-stitch border would work if you wanted to change up your colors. The brick stitch border would work, again, if you wanted to change up your colors or just try something a little different.
Can you show the face of the other bear while you're answering?
Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple of we've got a couple of border patterns that would work on that baby blanket. I will give it a little bit more thought, and I'll make a post about that a bit later. Yeah. We need a Nico Ninja Bear. We do need a Nico Ninja Bear. The bear needs like one of those what do you call those? Like the masks that you tie over your eyes kind of thing.
Penelope would like to see how the ears are sewn on the large bear.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to show that?
Sure can. So, just like I did with this one, you make the ear. Now I haven't done the inner ear bit. I kind of made his outer ear and stitched them on because I wasn't sure I was going to do an inner ear, but I still might. You leave a long tail on the earpiece and then decide where you want them. Thread up the long tail and you just are stitching through the bottom, about 3 stitches along the bottom of the ear and through the corresponding stitches on the head. 1, 2, 3. And then you go back and forth a couple times just to make sure it's really on there. And there's the other side. You can sort of see, where's my needle? Like that is the yarn going through the ear and the head. And I'll try and do it here too. I've done it pretty tightly. There's the yarn. As you can see, it kind of comes out of the head through the ear. I'm looping around and around just like I did with this little guy. And then you sort of sew one on, pull the tail out the back, do the same thing for number 2, pull the tail out the back, knot the tails together, pull the tails back into the head, no knots. Zoro Nico, yes. Oh my gosh. All right, my friends, if you have questions about the bear, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments section down below. They can be on this part 2 or part 1 of the bear from last week. We'll make sure that part 1 and part 2 are both linked in each video so that if you're on one, you can find the other easily. I'll also make a post about that a little bit later. If you make a bear and you would like to share a photograph of it with us, you can pop into our Etsy shop and click on message seller. You can attach a photograph with your message and we will share it with the community so everybody can see your bear. Heidi's at work. Don't worry, Heidi, you can watch again later and make one along with us later. Five Nights at Freddy's. Duck and a Fox. Do you know what? I know the Five Nights at Freddy's game, but I've never actually played it and I've never really watched it, although I could probably tell you the characters if I saw them. But they're creepy. I don't know. I don't know if I want to make a creepy thing. At least not right now. Not as we head into spring. Maybe closer to Halloween.
We have a zombie bunny that Jada made years ago in our Etsy shop, and of course it's cute.
Of course it's cute.
Of course it is.
We will make a, I think we're going to do the zombie bunny as a crochet along.
Is it a zombie bunny or a zombie bear?
It's a zombie bunny.
A zombie bunny,
yeah. Because I love bunnies. Bunny
should
things
put that up, put that up on the featured so everyone can see it if they're interested.
We'll make the zombie bunny together too a little later on because it's cute. It's fun.
I love that pattern.
Yeah, it's creepy cute. I like creepy cute stuff. More cute than creepy, but there you go. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, have a wonderful week. We will see you Friday. We have a beautiful brand new spring crochet tutorial for you coming this Friday. I am working on it right now. I'm looking at it. So we're going to have that available for you this Friday. And have a great week. If you have the day off today, enjoy your long weekend. Have a wonderful day off. Spend it doing something you enjoy. Remember to pamper yourself a little bit, whether that means like a nice hot shower or an extra cup of hot tea or a nicer meal that maybe you linger over a little bit. Whatever it might be, make sure that you take a little bit of extra time for yourself because I think that's something we all forget to do quite a bit. And have a great afternoon. I hope you all had fun watching this little bear and take care. Mr. InStitches, do you have anything you want to add?
No. I think you've covered everything.
You're thinking about a pizza. That's what you're thinking.
Yes, I'm thinking about pizza right now.
How well do I know you?
And I have been for the last 20 minutes.
And a squirrel pattern. I agree, Tori. I've got to come up with a squirrel pattern. It's the tail. The tail has me stymied. I have to work on a tail. A tail pattern. And hi, Colt. Have a great week, Colt. You as well. Everybody, have a wonderful week. Stay safe. Stay crafty. And we will see you Friday.
Yeah, Friday. New video on Friday.
New video.
Oh, and if you missed Friday's video, Jada did a little roundup of chicks and bunnies.
Yes.
Or chicks and egg patterns for Easter.
Yeah.
So if anyone would like to catch that.
That's there too.
Head to the channel homepage.
Stuff.
And other than that, have a great week.
Yeah, have a great week. Okay.